Hey, welcome back to DieCash Cars. So here on this channel, you guys know I'm all about finding the good deals, wheeling and dealing, and being able to invest in Hot Wheels for the short or long term and get a return on my investment, trying to squeeze out a little bit of profit or a lot of profit on these cars so that I can build my collection. But today, guys, I have a scenario where it actually made sense to lose money. So stick around and I will get through all the details, starting with these two 2019 Hot Wheels mini sets that could have been purchased from walmart.com, but I picked these up off of eBay not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, for $443 for both. So all said and done, about $220 a piece, which in all honesty on the secondary market today, mini sets, especially the older ones like this, always go for 300 plus. So I felt like that was a pretty good deal by the mini sets themselves. Retail price for these, mind you, is around $130, $140. So overall, not a bad deal, right? I mean, there's about 115 cars per mini set, 230 cars. That includes 8 super treasure hunts, 8 treasure hunts, 2 Mainline promotion cars, and a slew of Mainline. Some of them which are very sought after today, kind of like the Nissan Skylines that are in here, as well as some of the Zamacs, 300ZXs, etc. But how did I lose money on this? Well, let's break open this set and take a look at these cars a little bit further. So here are the 8 super treasure hunts out of both of these 2019 mini sets, headlined by none other than the Back to the Future Time Machine, which at the time that this was released as a super treasure hunt, very controversial for the fact that it's Zamac, not Spectre Flame, and it's essentially the first and only super treasure hunt that never came with real riders. I mean, it's got the classic hover mode that we all know from the movies, but down below it's just those plastic little wheels that give it the impression that it's hovering. But very interesting and controversial super treasure hunt. But since its birth, guys, this super treasure hunt has definitely gained a lot more traction. I think more so on the idea that it's based on the actual Back to the Future movie, which is just ever popular. And again, the things that we didn't like about this super, being Zamac having no real riders, is actually drawing in a lot more collectors. But enough of that, let's get into the values of these supers, starting with the 2018 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon. Right now, secondary market, that piece is selling for about $50. Then you got the Mazda Repu JDM, nonetheless, but not terribly popular, sitting at $30 on the secondary market. You got the Street Creeper, the one fantasy cast from the year, and honestly, one of the worst super treasure hunts ever to release. That is sitting at about $15 right now on the secondary market. You got the Lamborghini Aventador J, the convertible. That is at $40 on the secondary market. You got the Corvette Racer 1969. That's sitting at $25. The Mustang from 1992. That is a $45 piece. And then you got the green turd, as my friend would like to call it, but the 68 Mercury Cougar. That is a $20 super treasure hunt. And then last but not least, the Back to the Future Time Machine. Again, the headliner for these 8 super treasure hunts, right now sitting at about $60 to $70 on the secondary market. So that's a grand total of $285 for just these 8 super treasure hunts out of the 2 mini sets alone, which puts me on track to actually break even. However, it is very common to get cracked blisters and soft corners out of these mini sets, as well as the master sets that you can get off of RLC. And it just so happens to be the highlight of these supers, the Back to the Future DeLorean. You can see it does have a little bit of a crack blister here. I did check the rest of the cards. The Demon does have a soft corner, as well as the Aventador J. I'm sure there's other card flaws on some of these as well too. So I think realistically, all 8 of these supers would probably only yield me about $250 of the actual $285. And then a really cool bonus with both of these mini sets is that you do get 2 Walmart exclusive Zamac promotional cars. First is this Silverado off-road, which I believe the only way you could get it is when it popped up for availability on walmart.com. Right now, secondary market for this piece goes for about $25. And then there's the dairy delivery. So this piece was honestly a little bit more challenging to get. You could only get it, at least in 2019, from the Legends Tour through the vending machine. And I believe you had to make purchases in the store even to get a ticket to use the vending machine. So that one I know was a little bit tough to get for people who collect vans, and secondary market right now unfortunately has dropped all the way down to about $20. And then there is a slew of 12 Zamacs, all factory sealed from the mini sets, highlighted by the RX-7, the R30 Skyline, and the R33 Skyline. Secondary market on the Skyline R33 right now is about $20. The R30 is about $8. And then the RX-7 is about $8 as well too. The other Zamacs aren't much to write home about, but I would think that all 12 of these Zamacs, I could probably sell them and get back maybe around $50. But again, similar to the Super Treasure Hunts, there are a couple of examples of soft corners, cracked blisters. So that brings the potential value of these Zamacs from about $50 down to about $40. And then down to the last resort to make back my money that I originally invested in this mini set, there are the Mainline, starting with this Barbie exclusive Corvette, factory sealed. I mean, there was a time when this card on a factory sealed sticker would probably fetch around $30, but right now secondary market probably sitting in that $10 to $15 price point. Another really cool mainline we got in 2019 was this Scooby-Doo inspired Batmobile. It's actually grown quite a bit in popularity as well too. Right now secondary market sitting at about $10. And then we are definitely living in the Skyline inflated secondary market, this being a first edition factory sealed version of the Nissan Skyline R32. Right now secondary market also sitting in that $10 price point. Then you got a couple of $5 cars like this first edition Mazda Miata, rest in peace Ryu Asada. We got a Tesla Roadster with Starman that paid tribute to when they launched this car into space, shout out Elon Musk. And then you got this Honda CRX factory sealed first edition in this really brilliant black. Right now secondary market on this for all the Honda boys sitting at about $8. And then a set of twins here. We got the Nissan 300ZX twin turbos in both first edition recolors, white and red. Both of these in the secondary market typically fetch about $5 a piece, so $10 in total. But all of these main lines that I just rattled off, grand total secondary market be around $50, $55. But again, we get hit with the flaw bug. These factory sealed 300ZXs, you can see cracked blisters and pretty significantly. So I would say that a more fair estimate value of these main lines, at least the more notable sought after ones, may be around $30 to $40. So if I go back and check my math, I'm looking at a grand total of about $430, $440, which essentially would allow me to break even. But again, because we had so many card flaws, my secondary market value on what I have from these mini sets is probably more realistically around $350, which means that I pretty much took a loss of about $100 on these two mini sets. Ouch. So to tell you guys the truth, I knew what I was getting myself into with this $440 pickup of two 2019 mini sets. I knew that best case scenario, I would be able to break even with the cars that are sought after out of the sets. But the sad reality is that I was going to run into some casualties, some damaged cards, cracked blisters, etc. And they were going to hurt my bottom line. So why did I do it? Why did I put myself into a situation where I would more than likely lose money? Well, you got to remember that I only showcased about 30 cars and there was a total of 230, which means that there are still 190 main lines that I'm not really counting within the value of the overall purchase, because these aren't the cars that any collector would be looking to add into their collections. Like this Mercedes-Benz Unimog 1300, I get it, it's licensed, but it's just not anything that anybody from a collector standpoint can really relate to. So this is essentially what you would see as a peg warmer. In 2019, it was definitely a peg warmer, and I have here about 190 main lines that don't have any significant value whatsoever. But the really cool thing is that I have an established market locally for main lines such as this, unwanted license cars, fantasy casts, etc. And it's all through my church and the rummage sales that we've been doing for the last couple of years. I basically set up a table, put all of these mainline cars on there and list them for sale for about 50 to 75 cents, which is essentially half of what you can buy a brand new Hot Wheel for at Walmarts and Targets. So it's a win-win type of situation. I'm able to get rid of all of these fantasy casts. Neighborhood kids get them for half off, and all the profits and proceeds go to my church. So if you think about it, guys, I may have lost $100 on the overall deal, but I'm able to sell off all of these fantasy casts. There's 190 of them here, so 75 cents multiplied by 190, that means that I'll essentially be able to recoup another 145, 150 from selling these off. And trust me, guys, they sell out fast. So that would mean that I technically am in the green now, because if you tack on $140 onto the 350, I mean, I'm basically sitting at about almost $500, whereas the two mini sets only cost me $443. But wait, it gets even better. In our past rummage sales, we have actually been told that because they don't want people taking these Hot Wheels from the rummage sale and just returning them to the local grocery stores and Walmarts and Targets, they actually want us to take the cars off the card back so that there's no UPCs. So I'm gonna have to do this to every single one of these cars. But the bonus to this is that now I have a bunch of card backs that I can use for mail-in promotions. A lot like this one from Kroger's as of late, where you can submit $20 worth of receipts and all the card backs associated in order to get the Porsche 356 Outlaw. So these card backs were essentially the last piece of the puzzle. I already have over $60 worth of receipts of cars that I purchased in the last month from Pick and Save, which is an affiliate of Kroger's. And now I just need about 55 of these card backs in order to get my free Porsche, because let's face it, I did not want to open up all of my Kroger exclusive 4GTs in yellow in order to do this mail-in promotion here. So, I mean, if you read the rules, as long as your card identification right here from the assortment number matches what's on the rules, it's fair game as far as sending in card backs. So again, it's very multi-purpose as to why I made this purchase. I mean, on the surface it looks like I lost money, but in fact I'm helping my church, I'm helping my community, and I'm getting card backs for the mail-in promotion. But let me know what your thoughts are on what I'm doing here. I feel like I'm being pretty resourceful and I'm making the most out of everything. Let me know if you've had similar situations where it's not all about the direct profits, but the added values that you get with these cars elsewhere. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time on DieCash Cars.